G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. We've done the defenders already. We've done the midfielders. And now it's time to do the forwards. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Blasted the goal from inside the 30. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty. You're a magician. Petracca. The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. We're off to a ripping start here today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mitch Casey. You can find me on X at Ball Boys Fantasy. And the man who forgets to press the one button he needs to press at the start of each podcast is on my left. How are you, Luke?
I literally only have one job, and you know what I was thinking in my head at the intro. I was thinking, I'll tell everyone about the off-camera technical difficulties that we had to start the podcast, because we're always re-recording something. Mitch has to do the intro 5 times because we fuck it up. And while I was thinking about fucking it up,
You fucked it up again.
I would have fucked it up. I would have fucked it up even worse.
Oh, yeah. That's the Ball Boys experience you get. Just utmost professionalism.
It would be off-brand if we were to start doing well.
Yeah, we're not even in live podcast territory yet. Wait till that kicks in again.
That could be real strife.
Always love that. But I reckon this year, this will be our first year. No hiccups. No hiccups on the live show.
And that's always good. When you go and declare something like that,
Yeah.
I find that's always the way to make it happen.
Yeah, never Mozzes anything.
Moz.
Speaking of Mozzes, this forward line's easy to pick.
Oh,
There's
dirty
options everywhere.
Dirty Mozzes getting around everywhere. I boycotted a position in the rucks on our team reveal last episode. I almost wanted to boycott 6 positions in the forward line.
It's these
maybe 5.
This week is going to be tough, right? Because we're going to be talking about the premium forwards today. Our next podcast is going to be doing the value forwards. And then on Friday, we're going to be talking about the rucks. These are the hardest positions, I think, to fill this year. Not because there's so many good options to choose from and we've got to just whittle it down to 6. We've got to fill it up with 6 players that maybe we are not as confident as in them as we are maybe in previous years. Or at least that's how I feel on January 24th at time of recording, because it just often every year, obviously, like we said in a couple podcasts ago, the forwards get cut. All the midfielders that we had as forwards last year, they're gone. They're no longer positional eligible. So usually we have a big drop-off at the top. But it does feel like this year, even in the cheaper premiums and the value players, which we're going to talk about on Wednesday, they're not there either. So I think this will affect how we approach the forward line.
Yeah, agreed. It's still early days, so it's not all doom and gloom. We'll have a chat about a few people today, but hopefully, as things go forward in the preseason and even after we get through round 0, we're going to have some players that throw their hands up. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. So we will start with the top of the ladder here, and that is Harry Sheezel. Now, I think straight off the bat here, we can have a decent conversation with Harry Sheezel because he comes in at a whopping price of 109.2 after averaging that last season. Now, he is no doubt about it. Head, shoulders, knees and toes above the rest of the forward line. That's not in question. But he is priced that way too.
Yeah.
He is priced nearly, 16 points higher than Brian Myers, who's the next most expensive. Probably roughly about 20 points from the other players that we are considering. Is that an issue? Does it change because of this year? Your thoughts on Harry Sheezel starting in January?
Yeah, I know that you've talked previously about tending not to try and pay up for those guys, but I think there is an argument that you can potentially pay up for 1, maybe 2 of those guys when you see them as being a captain option early in the season.
And do we see that?
Well, this is the thing I want to talk a little bit about in terms of Sheezel is the first game that they play Port Adelaide haven't historically been an awesome matchup, but the 3 games after that are actually pretty decent teams. So I think there's a chance that you can throw the VC or the C on Sheezel in those first 4 rounds. But I did a little bit of digging into the early draw. Now, like I said before, that they play Port Adelaide in round 1. So not historically a great matchup. End of last season, maybe so. But the other thing I started to think about was, let me have a look at how my team's unfolding here. Well, as I look at it now, my captain options, early days, probably Sheezel And then I'm probably looking at like a Connor Rozee.
Those Port players with the
good run.
Yeah.
Maybe outside of like a Jai Caldwell. And so I thought, okay, well, when do North Melbourne and Port Adelaide play early in the season? Well, they play each other.
Yeah, first up.
There's an issue. There's an issue immediately. And in that same round, I think Caldwell, who's my other, I would say, premium player that I'm paying up for, plays Hawthorn's not an awesome matchup. And then they actually, Port Adelaide and North Melbourne actually kind of play similar times throughout those first rounds. So I think it's round 2 they both play. I've got here on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then, so you've got to think about, okay, well, where do your looping options come from?
Yeah,
in round
true.
3 and 4, it does free up a little bit. So North on the Saturday night and Port on Sunday in round 3. And then round 4, North Melbourne play early. So you maybe go a VC Sheezel with a decent matchup into like a Rozee with a good matchup. But
I will say with the round 2, 3, 4, you'll have the early buy players you can use as your loop. So
you won't have to worry about that so much.
You can VC your second last game on Sunday without as much drama.
Obviously, just something to think about. Given I'm talking about my team here, you might have a premium player that's from a different team where that doesn't apply to you. But just early days, I think the Port Adelaide guys and then Sheezel are going to be popular captain options. Just something to consider.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason we're talking about this so much is because if you're paying 110 for someone, they better be a fucking captain option for you, because why are you paying that much for them? If they're not going to be someone that you're confident to whack a C on when everything else is going wrong in your round, then there's no point having them in your side, because, yes, there might be upside sometimes. This can happen, but I don't think it's why you're picking a player here at 110. You're picking them at that price because you want to be able to put the captaincy on them, and for them to get those double points, that's their quote-unquote value. And I think right now, like, Sheezel is the most expensive player in my team. He is in my side as of time of recording. And I think it's more to do with the rest of the line and the confidence you have in other teams. So I've sort of compared him before to Sam Doherty in, I want to say it was 2 seasons ago, maybe 3 seasons ago, when he was coming off, seasons where he seemed like the head and shoulders above all the other defenders at the time. And he actually had quite a disappointing year that year, had an injury which you can't really predict, but I went down to what I thought was the next best option in Jordan Dawson. And this was before, obviously, he went into the midfield, but which maybe was a bit of luck. But just having that little bit more room to grow with a cheaper player is sort of what I like to do. But this year, I don't have as much confidence in those other guys. So to go, it's not necessarily, are you confident enough to pick Sheezel? Is what are your thoughts on the rest of the line to put them in instead of Sheezel?
Yeah, agreed. And it kind of, we're going to talk about this next guy, Christian Petracca. And if you're not picking Sheezel, is there a chance that Petracca's your F1? And do you feel confident about that pick? Well,
yeah.
What's your read on Christian Petracca?
So Christian Petracca, if I was just, again, isolating him on his own, he's changed clubs. He's gone to the Gold Coast Suns. He's had back-to-back seasons where he's basically averaged 90. He's got a flourishing Instagram cooking career, which seems to be taken away.
It was tick, and then it was cross.
Big old cross.
Get that out of here.
I don't know what the change in scenery is going to do to that side of his his life. But I feel like I don't see him bouncing back to the guy that he was 3 seasons ago, where he was 105, and 4 seasons ago where he was 110. I talked about him on the coaches panel top 50. And you've compared him to being the Dusty for Dimmer this year, right? His fantasy career has followed Dusty's extremely closely. Like, if you think of Dusty when he had that pop season, same year that they won in 2017, won the Brownlow, Christian Petracca had his best season when they won the premiership. Dusty had that 113 averaging season. Then he went back down to 105. And then the rest of his career, he was like a 90s guy, sometimes even less than that. So to me, that's what I'm forecasting for Petracca. Priced at 90, he might have maybe 3 or 4 points of upside, but then again, so does Sheezel.
Yeah.
Sheezel doesn't have the early round buy. Petracca does. So if I was picking between the two, I'd probably still pick Sheezel. But again, you could have both, because what are the other options? And the thing that I think is in favour of Christian Petracca is his early run. It's the West Coast into Richmond. Basically, the 2 easiest teams to score against in the competition. because of other things happening. Now, we won't talk about him in detail, but Isaac Rankin plays into this, I think, a little bit as well. He's suspended for the first game of the season. You could do a little bit of, Petracca for 2 games on his bye, trade into Rankin if you've seen one game of Rankin and you like what you saw. They obviously don't have an early bye. It just gives you time. It gives you time to assess what options that you were unsure about early in the season and maybe another couple of data points to feel confident to trade into it.
I don't like when you're talking about Isaac Rankin. You buy yourself time, but if at the end of your time you still have no options, then you're up the creek without a paddle.
Well, if that's the case, then he's sitting on your bye and you don't worry about it too much because who's going to come in and make you feel like, I'm missing out on this gun scorer? No, It's like people putting rookies where I've got a guy who I'm now covering him with a rookie. So that's the logic. At least I'm trying to argue with myself with.
No, I think it's a good point. Look, the new club factor is normally a boost, but if Christian Petracca wanted to go and be a fantasy beast, he's gone to the wrong club.
Yeah.
He's gone to, I would argue, maybe the best midfield, maybe aside from Brisbane and that the best midfield in the comp. And in my opinion, he's gone there to play a selfless. Yeah, true. Yeah. He's gone there to play a selfless team first role, where he is explosive in the midfield and then pushes forward and kicks bags. Is what I'm hoping to see from him.
Yeah.
So, look, he's in my team at the moment, but I think it's hard because we spoke to a couple of years. We spoke to, I think it was Mini Monk in the preseason. He talked about the narrative. He talked about when you're looking at a player, what's the narrative that you're selling yourself?
Yeah.
What's the story you're telling yourself? And for me, the story I'm telling myself about Petracca is not a fantasy-friendly story, but it's just there's no other options.
I think that the one you could spin to yourself is like he's going to a better side. Even though they didn't score as many fantasy points, maybe the fantasy scoring that they are doing is probably going to be more his end of the ground.
Yeah.
So like the distribution of scoring might favour him. He's happier. Maybe that elevates his play a little bit more. They're a little bit woozy, a little bit wazy kind of strategy and narrative there.
Give it some.
So it's not my favourite narrative to run with. I like a little bit more number-based narrative.
Cooking career? Stocks up or stocks down on the GC?
I feel like Melbourne.
GC.
Yeah, that's a different type of cooking.
Bit of mouth.
Melbourne's a bit more of the foodie scene, so maybe
cooking
down.
Cooking cappuccinos in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everyone just lives off? Coffee down there.
Coffee. So maybe that's, I don't know.
Hey,
really grasping at straws, I think.
Cheeky peeky in round 0. So
yes, line.
Let me ask you, what's the low line? What makes you not pick him? Because he's currently in your squad.
Low line to me, anything under 80 it rules him out.
Okay.
Anything under 80 rules him out.
Who do they play in that round 0?
I don't think it's as friendly. Hold on. I can look at the game now. I don't have to look at my phone anymore.
It's open, baby.
So they play an opening round Geelong. So obviously much difference to West Coast Richmond. And then he plays Melbourne, don't forget, in round 4.
Revenge.
Revenge and an easy team. He's got Essendon in 2 games after that. So he's got basically the 4 easiest matchups in his first 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah. Okay.
He misses North Melbourne until later in the season. But that's the narrative to me is like, it's not necessarily about Petracca, it's about everything else around him. And I think someone that maybe comparing Petracca to Sheezel is a bit unfair, but I think comparing Petracca to this next player in Adam Treloar is actually probably maybe the more of the decision we need to make.
Agreed.
Because Treloar has the same round as the early buy. He's priced very similarly. Some would argue that he's got a higher upside. We've seen it 2 years ago. He was the highest averaging midfielder. And
I think they'd have a strong argument if they were.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that long ago. Now, the downside with Treloar is you obviously had a very unhealthy season last year.
The old unhealthy season?
Yeah, he didn't get on the park much.
He might need Christian Petracca to cook him up a healthy meal.
Yeah, maybe he will. Okay, these guys can get together. Be a super team. But just because he was injured last year doesn't mean he's going to be injured this year. The 3 years prior to that, he had some pretty healthy seasons. He didn't miss too many games over that stretch. So what do we think about Adam Treloar?
The first thing I'll say is I don't think you can do the little Mexican taco girl with these two. I don't think that...
You need one or the other?
I don't think you have both. Just with the early buy.
I tend to agree.
The difficulty here for me with Treloar is a question of, can he walk back into the role that he was in? So let me take you back to 2024. Treloar was basically the CBA guy there. It was the 80% guy.
Yeah,
and
he's killing it.
What happened last year was Ed Richards went from being more of like a sort of 40% guy and basically took that mantle from Treloar. I don't see Adam Treloar coming back in and taking that role back from Ed Richards.
Yeah, so things have obviously changed since he was last.
The other thing
doing that
is that Matt Kennedy then essentially stepped into the role that Ed Richards was playing in 2024. I don't see a world where you go, actually, I want 31-year-old Adam. Is it 30? How old's Adam?
33,
Treloar?
I think.
33,
Yeah.
sorry. 33-year-old Adam Treloar being my 80% guy. Sorry, Ed Richards, my up-and-coming young gun. You're out. And Matt Kennedy, who was awesome last year, you're out of the mix. I'm struggling to see that.
It's a good point because I think you just think, oh, yeah, he's done that before. He'll slot right in there. But it is different. Maybe I'd imagine they're going to have another really tight rotation again with Libba, Bont, Kennedy, and Treloar. But when he was Ed Richards, Ed Richards, Bont, Kennedy, Treloar, and Libba. So what's that? 5 guys that go through there. He was, like you said, the number 1 in 2024. He might be the number 3 or 4 this year.
If that, he could.
Now, obviously, so I think for you and I, that rules out the 110. Okay.
Yeah.
But could it still be enough for a 100?
He's not El Cheapo. Well, I mean, how many Bulldogs midfielders do you expect to average it? So
They are one of the highest scoring midfielders. Like
Fair.
them and Brisbane are up there. Like Libba, for example, I think did average 100 last season as an older person.
Well, this is the thing. I don't see a world where Bont, Richards, Libba, Kennedy, and Treloar.
It's pushed.
That would be...
Well, I think the argument would be Libba comes back down.
Okay.
Maybe you see a reduction in some of those other guys. But again, you're threading the needle a fair bit there.
I think so too, and it's not if Libba's the one to come down for Treloar to go up. What they lose taking Libba out. I don't think Treloar provides them going in. Do you know what I mean? Libba's does a lot of that grunt work that I think Treloar's a little more silky.
Richards is more he's the Treloar replacement, right? Like he plays probably of the other guys the most similar to Treloar.
That's what the stats kind of suggested as well in terms of him just plugging that hole. The issue was
you'd probably say at this point Richards would be a better player.
Well, Richards is younger. I don't know if you put him side to side right now. Maybe Adam Treloar at his healthy best is still maybe a better player. But Ed Richards has the upside from here, I think. In a word, Petracca or Treloar?
I'm Petracca because of the main factor to me is the early draw. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm not in love with either pick. I want to side with the early draw and I just feel like it gives me options. Either I get a couple of good rounds and something else is like grabbing my attention, I want to trade in, I trade him off on the buy, or nothing's grabbing my attention. At least I've banked that. I've got those, if you look at a season average, it's going to be, floated up with good matchups and dragged down with bad matchups. At least I've banked those good matchups in there. So,
and you got someone who can provide healthy meals for the team.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, nutritious game plan for the 26th season.
It's good. Because you sure as hell wouldn't be providing the healthy meals.
No.
Hasn't touched a vegetable in his life, this guy.
Hey, do as I say, not as I do. So those are the top line guys. We're finally going to start to talk about, outside of Harry Sheezel, another player that doesn't have an early round bye. And I think this is an interesting one. Kysaiah Pickett.
You won't pick it.
I probably won't pick it. Nice. But because he was a guy that last year, we got questions about him. He
had the role last year.
He had the role, and I kept saying, nah, you can't do it. You can't do it. But he had a breakout season last year. And with the two main midfielders gone in Petracca and Oliver, I think it only stands to...
I don't think it can, but 69% CBAs last year. He had more than Petracca last year.
Yeah.
Petracca had 66, so I don't know where the room is. You're not wrong in saying that he broke out last year. But
it's definitely not going backwards, I don't think.
Do you want to pick a guy just because you don't... You know what I mean? I don't think you want to pick him just because he's not going backwards.
He doesn't have an early buy. Like, could he be the alternative to the Treloar, Petracca? The rest of your team's loaded up with early buy players. You don't see them as like they're kind of the same thing. They're not going backwards, but maybe...
And I think Kysaiah is that impact player.
He definitely is.
Would we liken him to a Rankin in the sense of like the talk of more midfield time? And Rankin did play more midfield time at points during last season, but overall we probably were pretty disappointed with what we got from him.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season. Now that Cozzie's kind of what I would say fully priced, I don't know. I don't know if there's an argument here.
There's if you look at his scores, it's actually like, I'll go through. So he missed the start of the season, came in round 4, 87, 99, 118. That's a stretch of averaging 100 points. But then he goes 65, 64. And this is the kind of stuff that when at the time I was like, proving myself right. Yeah, this is why you don't this is why you don't pick Kysaiah Pickett. But then he goes on a 3-game stretch after that, 107, 101, 126. Okay, maybe I look like an idiot. It's 42, 64. Then he goes 97, 101, 95, 77, 106. So like there's stretches here where he's actually a gun, and it's just ruined by these. There's about 6 games in here where he scored less than 70. The rest of the season he's averaging 100. Why? And the games
Richmond,
that he's
West Coast.
Richmond West Coast, St Kilda. Why is he putting up crap scores? He even had a 77 against North.
That to me makes it even more concerning, doesn't it? Because if you'd looked at all of the games where he scored poorly and you went, okay, that's quality opposition, then you start to think, okay, well maybe he's going to work his way through those games. I'm not sure. 60%
doesn't play Richmond till round 7, so it's the opposite. Like
60% or greater CBAs last year was 91. I think he's priced at. Is it 87? He's priced at.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if I have the kahunas to go there, but it would not surprise me if he is the pick of these like 3 again.
But are you picking like 2 successive breakout picks? Breakout seasons, sorry.
He's obviously not going to do what he did last year again. Like he's not going to go from 87 to 107, which is kind of, he went up 20 points, but he might go up 10. Like maybe he goes up another 10 and just gets rid of those floor scores, because that's the thing. You want him. It's not necessarily his ceiling that needs to get better. He just needs to be more consistent. He needs to do it without having those real turds in the middle there. And with the market share of Petracca and Oliver leaving, like he might need to just take. He's 24 years old. You know, he's
young.
He's getting better still. So I think that's the argument. You just sort of go, is he going to take a step up in terms of his pecking order in the team and just eliminate those floor scores, and just if he just replicates what he did last year with his ceiling scores, like that probably will end up being a decent pick. So I don't want to rule it out.
Fair enough.
If both Treloar and Petracca come out in round 0 and they both lay a turd, like you're going to be sitting there like scratching your head going, what do I do? I think Pickett could be maybe someone that is like another option of that.
See what we see in the
preseason.
preseason. And if you're a Melbourne fan, let us know.
Let's go on to one of my favourite players in the competition. Often the forgotten man in the
Do you really want more?
Yeah, that's a little bit of Usher.
What's the next?
I don't know. You caught me off
Scream
guard.
it out louder. Get on the floor.
Okay.
Something about fire.
Yeah. Let's go.
Light it up.
Keep going.
Take it up high. Maybe.
Yeah. Sounds
We're
right.
gonna push it to the limit.
Give me more. Give me more.
Really?
Yeah. Give it to me. He's a gun. He is cheaper than he has been the last few seasons. There's other things also going on at Hawthorn, right? Yeah. You've really thrown me off for a loop. But he's coming in priced at 82. He's typically a 90 guy without the midfield time. There was a stretch last year where he started the season, I think
77 pre-buy, 88 post-buy.
Yeah, he from memory came in a bit underdone or something like that. There was a preseason issue or injury or illness. I think he's had glandular fever in seasons gone past. I don't think that was this past year, but
that's disaster. If you pick a guy like Dylan Moore, you're picking him as like a safe guy to be, and if he starts the season pre-buy 77, you're not getting any cash gen from him.
Yeah.
You're not getting top 6 forward scores. What do you do? I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I mean, he had some games where he had low time on ground. So in games where he had 80% or more TOG, he averaged the 89, which is more like, that's more. In games where he had 15% or more of CBA, so just going in there a little bit in the middle, averaged 91.
How many games do you remember?
It was a lot.
Okay.
I think it was a fair sample size. I don't have the number in front of me, but it wasn't a small sample size. You add into the fact Warple's gone. Will Day's not going to miss a chunk of the start of the season.
Yeah.
Dylan Moore, I could see him returning back to those 90 averages.
Yeah. Is there any chance that you mentioned Warple's gone? What was Warple's CBAs? I imagine it's going to be
It was
high.
like 60% off the top of my head, but I will...
So is there a chance that Dylan Moore gets a share of that? You obviously mentioned Will Day's out. We're going to talk about Connor McDonald on our next podcast.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that they fill that by committee, or do you think it's one person that goes
It's
in
interesting. They've always seemed to use Dylan Moore as, like, he goes in there little bits, and then all of a sudden he'll get a game where he's like 50% in there. And then the next week he's back to 15%. So they kind of use him sparingly. They use him less. They use more less. I thought there was something there.
Well, there was, but you just stopped. You stalled.
I stalled. Yeah, it didn't feel
Take
right.
it from me, mate. When you make a joke, you got to keep pushing.
You got to go hard. Okay.
You don't pause for the applause. Mate.
But I don't think it's gonna be like he's too good at the role he plays.
Yep.
I think for them to just put him in there permanently is the way I kind of see it.
I reckon he's potentially best 3, best 5 in the comp for that role that he plays.
I think he might be the best. Maybe
impressive.
Isaac Rankin has got an argument for that, but just the way he covers the ground and the how hard he plays. I love Dylan Moore, and he always has been a kind of guy, like if he was a 65% CBA player, he would be 105 easily.
I agree with that.
He has the fantasy chops, scoring, he tackles, he marks, he kicks the ball, he could get forward and kick goals, even playing a midfield role. He would be amazing. I just think we've seen now, we know what it is. So I think his ceiling is 91, 92. I do think it's more likely he's that than he is the 82.
Yeah.
But as a starting pick, especially with the early buy, I think you want a little bit more upside, a little bit more ceiling than that. But not a forgotten man, I don't think. But yeah, I think we'll more likely pass on him.
Yeah.
Last one we're going to talk about today. It is a short list here.
I'm surprised you added this name to the list, mate. You've been burnt by this guy in the past.
Yeah, I have. Jordan De Goey. Again, the forwards. I'm trying to fill a podcast here.
Hey, what are we at?
27
minutes.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of time on a few players. He did not have a good season last year. Missed a lot of games. Averaged. What did he average? Oh, he's priced at his average of 52.7.
Is he priced at 52? No, I think he's priced at 76.
Okay, maybe those include finals.
Here,
No, yeah, sorry, that did include finals, so those don't count for the fantasy formula.
I've got here priced at 76, but did he play enough games to get...
He must have. So he got the discount from the previous years.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Which I've got here priced at 76, or thereabouts. His career best is 86.
It's pretty gross.
It's super gross, and he's a roller coaster.
29 years old.
He's just a suspension or an injury waiting to happen. And of course, I'm not...
He can pop a score still, though.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that he's not a good footballer or that he can't pop a score, but do you want to sign up for that?
Okay, let's play the game. Opening round.
Jordan
Jordan De Goey comes in.
He has a round 2 bye.
Yeah. It makes it hard.
Even if he goes huge.
You guys 130 round 0.
I still almost... Who do they play round 0 and then round 1?
That's a good question.
I still don't even know if I'm there for the 130. It's just...
St Kilda, then Adelaide. So it's like...
It's not...
No.
Yeah, that to me is just the don't touch the stove. It's hot,
yeah.
and then you fucking touch the stove, even if he goes 130.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been burned before and you go in for another thing. Yeah, look, I think... I'm clutching at straws, putting him on the list, really. He's not even... Like, he's a better player than fantasy player, and he's always been that. If he just played a couple more games during the home and away season, he got that discount. He was priced in the 50s. You definitely have a look at it. Supercoach, I'm sure he's a fucking great pick, but for fantasy, probably not.
Put it this way, I think if there's players that you think fall into that premium category that we've missed, of course, let us know in the comments. But maybe the fact that we're struggling to fill a podcast in this premium category just means that we need to shop in the next bracket down.
Yeah, it's just as bad down there.
In the forward line. But despite it, we're trying to sell the next podcast, mate.
It's a great podcast.
It's so good.
We
down
have
there.
in the next podcast this secret weapon who will be the most impactful fantasy player. You've never heard of it before. He is going to rise the most cash out of any player
Oscar
in 2026. Yes.
It's the Forkhead's
You got to
back.
have the Forkhead in your side.
I think the Forkhead's gone, isn't he?
Yeah,
You can't even look at his beautiful little
no.
mugshot. The
That's-
Forkhead.
Pour one out for the Forkhead. So that's the premium forwards, guys. It is probably looking like at this early stage, you're kind of deciding Sheezel, Petracca, Treloar, maybe a Kysaiah Pickett, like sort of the four names, feeling maybe your F1, F2, maybe pick two of those guys. But it's a tricky one. Well, hopefully there'll be a.
Are we're talking about Mr. Lock in the next podcast? aren't
We are.
He
He's a mid-pricer.
I suspect by the end of the year we'll be calling it premium, but
Yeah.
but Mr. Flanders, we'll discuss him in the next pod.
Spoilers. Let's wait till next time we talk about him. And make sure, while you're waiting, hit subscribe, hit the big old thumb button onto YouTube, give us a 5-star Apple rating, and on
you got
Spotify.
Hitchhiker's thumb or are you straight thumb? Oh, you're pretty straight.
What's
You
a
seen those
hitchhiker's-
people? You seen people's thumb where they like bend
Oh,
back?
yeah. A lot of
hitchhiker's thumb.
those basketball, like those old basketball players have.
No matter what kind of thumbs you've got, thumb it up.
Show us those thumbs. We'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Until then, bye.